All right, Coach, opening thoughts on the Cy-Hawk Duel.
First, thanks for coming out. A lot of excitement this weekend. I just saw the weather report, so it's going to be a blustery weekend. I don't think that'll probably stop a lot of folks from coming out. But, you know, as a coaching staff, we always talk about the biggest date on the calendar is always the next date. And so Iowa's the next date, but I think it's also fair to say that there's probably some dates that you might circle twice. And we all know that just because of the history of this rivalry, especially in the sport of wrestling, has been, you know, for a long-standing rivalry. So it's just a great opportunity for our guys to compete in something that can really help them down the road. Not only improve as a wrestler, but, you know, as many highly ranked guys as they've got, it can really set them up and help them for seeds at the Big 12 championships and especially the NCAA championships. So I think that's exciting as well. So I'll let you guys go from there.
What does this dual meet mean for the state of Iowa?
Well, like I said, it's just been, you know, gosh, I think it's probably been going 50 plus years just in terms of like Iowa Public Television or now it's ESPN. You know, there's a lot of eyes on it, not just in the state of Iowa, but for the state of Iowa, anything that's Cy-Hawk in the state of Iowa is a big deal, but wrestling fans are a little bit crazier than most fans, and so the Cy-Hawk in wrestling ends up being a little bit crazier too.
Speaking of crazy, how do you sort out 149 for this match and beyond, maybe?
Well, that's you know, that's kind of an evolving situation, and you know, I try to be as transparent as I can. We got two great options. We just had some wrestle-offs recently, and as of right now, Jacob Frost has earned the spot, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're 100% sure that we're going to wrestle who we're going to wrestle on Sunday. So we'll see what happens there, but it's been a back and forth. I mean, Panero won the first one. We always like to go 2 out of 3s, and Jacob won the second and won in the third one, so there's your scoop for the day. But, you know, we're in a good situation where we've got two guys that can really help us, and they both are healthy right now, and they're both wrestling really well, and so we'll keep running the train down the tracks and see what happens.
I know this has been a tight dual meet recently, but with as many potential toss-ups up and down the respective lineups, just how much uncertainty and maybe surprise factor elements do you think might be in this one?
It seems like that some more than others, but there's always a twist or a turn or a surprise in there, and I don't expect this to be any different. I mean, on paper, you know, you got some people that might say it's 4 and 4 and 2 toss-ups, and then you got other people out there that maybe give them the slight edge, and then of course I'd listen to people on our end that give us the slight edge. You know, it's just all about being ready to wrestle and being ready to compete. You know, there's guys right now that are probably thriving in the underdog role. And there's probably guys out there thriving knowing that they're such a strong favorite. So there's a lot about mindset right now and how you prepare yourself for that. So, you know, at the end of the day, I just got a really good ticket. My seat's really good, so I'm going to keep my ticket. So I like my seat.
What do you think Connor Uten can take away from his match against Caliendo last year?
It's a very competitive match last year. Caliendo is a heck of a wrestler. I really like watching that guy wrestle. I respect how hard he wrestles, but, you know, we love Connor Uten and what he brings to the table. And, you know, here's a guy that, you know, you look at rankings. I saw somebody had him ranked 11th today, and I saw somebody had him ranked 24th today. So I think that shows you just the wild cardness of Connor Uten. And it's mostly just because he hasn't got a chance to get in the whole season or even a third of a season. So if that guy can stay healthy, he's going to be a fun guy to watch just for the Iowa State fans.
What are you seeing from guys like Jacob and Panero who are navigating the difficulty of, you know, having to compete with each other to get a starting spot? Do you think do you see a change in them? Does it make them, I mean, work harder? I'm assuming they're working harder, but.
Well, I think that right now Panero, you know, has had a really good start. I'm probably a little surprised that Jacob stepped up in these last 2 matches like he did. But again, I think that just shows you, you know, you're wrestling off a guy that was an All-American last year. I don't think either one of them are the kind of guys that are going to throw in the towel and just say, you know, concede it to one guy right now. But Jacob's kind of in the driver's seat. If you would have said 2 weeks ago and we were standing here, it was the other way around. So a lot can change, you know, and we are still in late November, and we don't leave to Cleveland until the middle of March, according to my schedule. So we got a lot, you know, we got a lot to figure out there. Yeah.
Is it fun for you as a coach when you're kind of, watching how those guys show up in the practice room and in those wrestle-offs?
Fun, probably more observatory to me. It's nice to know you have depth, but how guys deal with adversity is kind of a special quality. Especially in Division I wrestling, to go undefeated and just blow through this sport is really difficult. So how you deal with adversity along the way and how you deal with setbacks, you really have to be a professional. And I give the analogy to our guys all the time is look at the teams in the NFL. You might be the best team, but you go out and you lose maybe when you're not supposed to lose, and you got to turn around and be a professional on Monday morning and get back out there. And so you guys are at the highest level of folk style wrestling, so you have to be a professional, and sometimes that's easier said than done, but that's the mindset we got to have.
One of the first big things you wanted to see was that curtain go away.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, and then
we got rid of that
team
sucker
trophy.
too.
Yeah. It's probably burned it maybe.
Yeah, we burned it. Yep.
You had a team trophy, did that. Obviously, the 20-match skid against Iowa. How big would it be to put an end to that? You can't burn it, I guess.
No, and I look at it like this: is you definitely you go beat Iowa on Sunday. It's something that not only will everybody remember, but you as a guy, a competitor, as a guy on that team, you'll remember that. Yeah. And I remind them all the time is you're going to remember the hard victories. You're going to remember beating the really good teams. Those are the things you guys will all come back in 20 years and 25 years and 30 years, and you'll talk about it. You don't talk about beating, and I'm not going to start naming names, but there's schools out there that you forget about really fast, 4 or 5 years when your college eligibility's up. So I think that's the cool thing. That's the challenge is you guys got a chance to do something really cool, and you know what? Put that on you. That's where the pressures of privilege is. Put yourself in that situation and, go do something that's really hard. I mean, you got to look at the history. Obviously, I was a part of it for a while, but you got to look at the history of Iowa wrestling. I don't know if Iowa's place, and I truly don't know. I don't know if Iowa's got lower than 5th place at the NCAA championships since the late 70s. Okay? Yeah. Now, you name Penn State hasn't done that. Yeah. Oklahoma State hasn't done that. There's no other team that's done that. So every time we strap it on with University of Iowa, we're wrestling one of the most storied programs in the last 50 years of college wrestling. Yeah. So it's not like going out and beating just your average team. Yeah. You go out and you beat an Iowa, especially in Iowa, you go out and beat a Penn State, you go out and beat an Oklahoma State, you go beat those teams, that's the stuff that your kids remember forever. And so that's the great opportunity about Sunday.
197 pounds is a matchup a lot of people have circled with Indian's hot start to the year. What kind of challenges does he present Rocky Uten?
And Dean's really probably surprised a lot of people just, jumping levels like he did. I think he got an experience a little bit, wasn't he, in Wisconsin for a while or something. So I think he's probably rolled around with Division I guys, and I know he made a world team this summer. So I think he's been a while. He's been wrestling at a higher level than he was at Wartburg. He did a tremendous job there. He's going to have his hands full with Rocky Elam. I'm curious to see how he deals with that because Rocky's the real deal. I'm just telling you. Don't think he's the real deal. So I'm curious to see how that one plays out.
What about MJ Gaitan? The last time he wrestled in this duel was 2 seasons ago, right? 2 seasons ago?
I don't know if he wrestled last year or not. If he did, he lost. I don't remember.
I don't think he did.
Riggins last year.
Okay.
So going back to when Iowa last came to Hilton, he had that tough loss.
Yep.
How are you seeing him? How has he grown really going into this season? What's changed? How has he really honed in on the stuff that you had talked about last season about cleaning up, being a little more clean in his moves, but still keeping his funky style?
It'll be interesting to see how he approaches this because he's got, again, just like Caliendo, Patrick Kennedy, both these guys I think are ranked 2nd in the nation. I mean, just a tough guy. And, you've got to be ready to go when you wrestle him, and your defense has got to be solid because he's going to get to your legs. And so it's a great test for MJ. Has he made those strides? And we'll see. Some days I think he has. Some days I wonder. So it's on paper he might be the biggest underdog on either side, and I'm going to remind him of that today and
a lot
tomorrow.
Of transfers in the lineup getting ready for their first Cy-Hawk Duel. What's kind of the message to them ahead of maybe their first marquee duel matchup, especially like those Northern Colorado guys?
I just bet they're really excited. I haven't had individual conversations with them all, but I just bet they're really excited. I mean, these guys are all Americans, and they've wrestled at the NCAA tournament, so they've wrestled in front of some big crowds. But yes, this is just different. You know, it's just different. The intensity and the noise and the excitement. So, but you know, those guys that go perform at the end of the year, especially when they're kind of underdogs and you know, like Steve-O and Vinny, and you know, they're not supposed to do anything, and even Isaac. You know, they've always been kind of the hot rods at their school, and they haven't had a chance to really showcase themselves in this in an environment like this. So those guys always seem to really like the big crowds and the fanfare. So I think they'll be good.
If I recall, by looking back, the last time Iowa State won this duel, you were coaching at Christiansburg High School.
I was a high school coach, huh?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, that's what you just
Well, then we got to
before
hurry up and win.
Virginia
That was a
Tech.
long time
I was
ago.
just going to say, do you
gotta hurry
remember
up.
following it then? Because that's
Of course,
an
yeah.
Iowa
I
guy
mean,
where you're like, what happened?
Just by wrestling in it so many times.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to wrestle in it 5 times. So, just by being able to be an athlete in it, you know, you can live in Timbuktu, and when you see the Iowa, if you can get your eyes on it, you're going to watch it. So.
How do you prepare? What's your Sunday morning look like before you get to Hilton?
Well, our preparation is this week and the week before and the week before, but Sunday morning we'll have our guys come in and meet. We'll make sure they get a little nutrition in them Sunday morning, and then we'll have a team warm up to get their last pound off and then get ready for weigh-in. So we'll start that about 8:30. So we'll come in, like I said, we'll get a little nutrition in them. We'll have a warm up at 8:30. We'll make weight at 10. They'll rest till about 11. We'll get them up, get them moving, and get them out there about 11:30, and get them back in about 10 till, and then at noon's go time.
What about Younger? He obviously hasn't competed in a while. He has a big matchup, depending, of course, who Iowa sends out. How have you seen him really start preparing for this big matchup, and how do you keep his head level?
Younger's always done really well in this series, so he'll be ready to go.